right. Hey, everybody. This is Valerie Van Boeven. I just want to say thank you for attending today. If you are watching the replay, be sure to watch all the way to the end. This is some very good information that all private duty home care agencies need to have, at least need to know about. And my other recommendation would be that if nothing else, make sure that you get signed up for a free demo of this based on your needs and your questions being answered with somebody from Home Care Quote, with Carl or Valerie, so they can go through it and talk to you about it from your specific point of view. This is excellent software, but you definitely need to go through that free demo so you can see how it will change your business life. All right, so with that, I'd like to introduce Valerie Darling and Carl Ryder. Valerie D and Carl, you guys can take it away.
Thanks, Valerie.
Yes, thank you, Valerie. It's exciting to be here today and look forward to the discussion. How many folks do we have on?
We have about 19 or 20 right now.
Okay, great. Well, maybe some more will join as we go.
Oh yeah, they're going to keep filing in.
Hope everybody's well and looking forward to the discussion. We have a
There you go.
there you go. So you saw the intro and the discussion in regards to the topic predominantly revolving around pricing. And so I'd just like to open up, if you would just be thinking about your own business at the moment. Think about what your current business is and where you want it to be, what your marketplace is and where you want to take it, and what your current prices are today, just for you have that in the back of your mind. And I really want you to be thinking about what differentiates you in the marketplace right now. We're going to go through some price processing discussion, discuss a little bit about differentiation. We're going to talk about some fundamentals of base rates, what a general rate increase or GRI might look like, and if you're doing that kind of pricing discipline in your business today. And then a little bit about what dynamic pricing is and what that's all about. As Valerie said, we've developed a pricing solution for our industry that was built basically for our Home Care Matters here in Flowery Branch, Georgia, to give some value propositions and differentiation in our marketplace. Through that process, we had several other people we knew in the industry approach us and ask if they could also use the tool. So we changed the dynamics and the solution and made it available to others. And that's kind of what we have. And if we have time towards the end of today, we'll try to do a little bit of a demo or a little bit of an introduction to the website so you can see that a little bit more firsthand. And as Valerie said, please feel free to reach out, go to our website, schedule a demonstration. We'll be happy to give you a deep dive and get more into particulars that would be relevant to your business directly. Thought this was a relevant comment that came out of the Harvard Business Review about pricing. If you talk about increasing your cases or your sales, 1% improvement in that would be about 3.3% improvement in your operating profit, whereas a 1% improvement in your price that you put in the market will be 11%, and a significant impact, almost 3 to 4 times on your overall profitability. That article goes on to talk about management's responsibility about properly setting price as one of the primary responsibilities to ensure the profitability the organization is trying to achieve. So it's a good article, and I thought it was very relevant for today. You know, our call to action, or any call to action for any company, would be: does your pricing strategy really support the demands of what your business is? We know we've all gone through some pretty interesting changes with the prices and the compensation rates in our industry and the availability of resources to fill those care professional job responsibilities. So you got to have that pricing on your forefront of your strategy here to be able to enable some of those dynamics, but also the profitabilities of the company, what you're trying to achieve as far as profitability. And, you know, some fundamental questions that we asked as we were developing this was, you know, why are some of our basic companion rates and full care rates the same rate? You know, we're trying to pay the people the same. So it's kind of like, I guess, averages are deceiving. If you don't have differentiation in your rates, then you might just be paying the people. And then obviously the care is not the same in those two scenarios. Why do we have rates that are in place that are less than our base rate, right? Obviously, you get a lot of your early on legacy clients that might have been at your early on rate, and then you really haven't been able to migrate them or haven't put the time in and the communication effort into making sure they're at the current rate that your business demands. And then the third point here, obviously, is are you communicating, and is your messaging to your market a consistent message? So what, another question we ask ourselves about the transparency, because many times, obviously, clients are coming and having conversations and they don't really know the industry. They certainly don't know a lot of the terminology that we all know. And so they're at that time of need. And part of the process that we go through is a educational process. And so we can explain what the cost of care is. We also get into, as we get into the continuum of care for a client, we want to make sure we can show the progress of the client care needs over time and be able to review that with the client and with their loved ones that are facilitating the care on their behalf of their family member. So we want to be able to show that, and the tools that we've built enable that process for a side-by-side, very detailed review of the client to understand what's going on in regards to the care that we're trying to provide. And then we get into the idea of what dynamic pricing is, and what is it and why do we need it? Said another way, it's really making sure that you're being properly compensated for the services that you're providing. There are services that are basically built into your base care rates, but all those extra care services that you're providing, making sure that you're being properly compensated as the care needs change, and then subsequently properly paying skill levels of your care professionals that are providing the care is really some of the fundamentals that we could call it out. So, the question often comes up, what is home care quote? And as I said earlier, it was built basically for our home care agency and then was made available to others. It's really an educational tool, as I discussed a moment ago. You're helping to understand exactly what it is. This is a specialized tool that's built, customized to your needs and your business profile. It has two dimensions to it. It can either be on your computer and used as the tool when you're engaging in conversations with your potential clients. It can also be a tool that's been very intuitively designed with hovers and to explain the terminology in the tool. And a lot of times what we get is clients actually doing their own quote online, and then that message is sent to us, and I'll walk you through that in a little bit. So at the end of the day, it is a care planning tool. You're capturing all the specifics in a 5-step process of what the care needs are for the individual, all the way from what the basic information about where they are and who they are and their contact, what their needs are, to their care, their conditions that need to be cared for, the environment that the care is being provided, information about them so we know them a little bit. We can communicate to the care professional when they go in to meet them for the first time, summarize all that in the 5th step, making sure we haven't missed anything, and process that through the technology and the algorithms. And out comes a summation of that conversation with a picture of what level of care is being provided, the rates, a custom custom license plate number for that quote, and notice that a care member of your team will be communicating with them very soon. It's a pricing tool. So as I said, it develops a quote and a price. It's a pay tool. You're developing, paying for the services you're providing. You're getting more compensation. You're able to convey that at whatever way you want to convey additional finance to or compensation to your care professionals. And it's a margin improvement tool. So if we go back to the early slides, like what did Home Care Matters want to be? And Val, do you want to talk about this, or would you like me to continue?
Yeah, so some of the goals that we had when we were looking at trying to do something different was what did we want to be known as? Just another home care agency, or did we want to try and specialize and be able to talk directly to maybe some of our target referral sources, maybe a skilled nursing facility or a home health? So we, first of all, it's all about the service, because it is, at the end of the day, we use a lot of technology, but it's hands-on, it's customer service, it's providing a very personalized type of care in somebody's home, whatever that home environment is. So as we thought through it, as consumers, and probably all relate to this, almost anything that you buy today, you get a quote for. You go to buy a computer, you want to know what's in it, what's on it, what kind of warranty do you have in it, and how much does it cost. You go to get a phone plan, it has the minutes, it has all the data, it has, what it'll cost and how many lines can be on it. You go get a car, you get you get the base price and then you get all the extras. So you get everything except home care. We've never had that in home care. And so that is one of the most personal things that you can be doing. And this tool is going to help you educate your families and the loved ones, because we all know that most clients are in total denial about how much care a family member needs. So you can educate them, you can give them a very transparent quote, and you can talk to them about specifics. It's not abstracts, it's very specific. We want to be a respected employer of choice. We want to attract the caregivers. Our market has become very small. It's we're all competing in the same care professional pool with hospitals and assisted livings and hospice companies and with each other. So being able to know what cases pet are going to be charged and what we're going to get in revenue helps us offset how we can compensate the people at the end of the day that do the hard work in the homes. And they should be compensated as much as we can, possibly compensate them. And then we wanted to be a sustainable, high performing, profitable enterprise. So we've been here. We just celebrated 11 years this month, and we want to continue that for as long as we can physically work. So as a differentiate through all our professionalism, our performance, our staff, our team members, the education, and then, being able to be totally different from another agency down the street. That's, we quote, what's your rate? Oh, we start at this and then we go up. Well, why do you go up? How do you go up? When do you know to go up? Well, we just kind of know. This helps it. This helps you communicate it. They can see it, gives them a pie chart about where they are. So all the visuals are there, and it takes it from abstract to concrete.
Thank you, Valerie. So just a couple of points that we brought up at the forward. With your base rate, do you know what's included? What? And I asked you those questions to be thinking about. What is your base rate, and what's involved in it? And what would you like it to be, and how many hours and minimums do you want to have? And again, we capture all that information, whether or not you want to charge different for day, nights, weekday, weekends, holidays, all that's in there. There's a litany of facts that we capture in regards to your business that then creates a custom URL for you to run this process on your business. Do you know what your top competitors' rates are on their prices out there? I'm assuming that most people are looking at that. If you're not, that's an area to go put some focus on. There's many ways to go about that. Do you have a discipline of a rate increase? So, costs aren't going down. If nothing more, they've been spiking. You have to have a way of making sure that you are communicating and setting the process in place that allows you to put a general rate increase in, and a proper communication plan, no surprises. It's good to give people information. We've done it. We typically, we haven't lost any clients through it. They understand it. Most people understand it, even if they just go to the gas station today, right? So there is a way to communicate it properly, and we'd be happy to work with you and help you on how we've been successful doing that. And then again, the dynamic pricing, and what we said is a tool really does it for us. It ensures that you're charging for all the services, and as the service changes, we have those continuum and each of those quotations and reassessments that are done. State of Georgia, we do them every 90 days per regulatory. We have clients that are doing every 30 days because they want to make sure they're aware of everything that's going on. And then there are, obviously the life events would drive another quote to be or reassessment to be done. And then, as Valerie was talking about, making sure that the available compensation, you put it in the right place based on the right skills, and ensure the proper pay to the folks that are doing the heavy lifting. Current client users of the system are seeing 10 to 15% improvement over their base price. That's pretty much a national average. I think we're seeing somewhere around 12 and a half here right now in Georgia. So it's having an impact. And you go back and reflect on one of those early slides that I talked about with the Harvard Business Review comments. This is pretty material impact on your profit. This is just a little bit more information about myself and about Valerie. You can actually reach out to us. We'll be happy to sit down with you, understand where you're at in your journey. And it's all about trying to help each other, making sure that we're the most professional organization out there with the most professional folks to take care of the loved ones of these families that come and trust us, making sure that we're being properly compensated for the services that we're providing. Val, is there any questions so far?
I don't see any questions so far, but I'm going to send out a reminder. Hey, if you guys, I'll put it in the chat too. There's a little chat box there. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat. But I think what's going to really spur some interest here and more questions is when you go to these websites and show them how Home Care Quote works for Home Care Matters.
All right, good. All right, so we're going to show you. Can you see the website?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Share.
You stop sharing.
Share, and then we're going to go back and share. Hang on just a second. Wait.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, so this is my website. Can you see that? Can you see it?
Yeah, look at that beautiful website.
Yeah, look at that beautiful website. I wonder who did that website. So we just recently updated the website. What we've done, we've embedded the tool in the Get Your Quote Here. A differentiator down in the boxes is the best in class. See what's different. So when you click on that, you can get a transparent, accurate, effective, dynamic, personalized quote. You can get your quote there. And then we've also put it at the bottom of the page. I'm going to go right from here. So this is what a client, so if a client was, or potential client was just Googling stuff and found the site, which they've been doing, this is what they would come up with. You could also do it from your computer in your offices, or you can embed the URL on your toolbar and just use it as a favorites, which is what we do. So we accept the terms and conditions. So you can see it's personalized over here on the right side with my logo and my company name. This is the 5-step intake process. And then we have a color legend down at the bottom. And each one of these colors at the end helps us produce the pie chart and allows people to see exactly where their loved ones are on the care spectrum. Down at the bottom, we have a completion. There's 60 questions that we go through. And I know that sounds like a lot, but once you see it, it's really basically a lot of intake and very simple questions to answer and respond to. One of the very first question is, what language do you want? We have English and Spanish right now. So we're gonna select English. And I'm gonna kind of go through this a little bit quickly, but I'll explain, some things that as we're going through them, just so you can know and understand some of the different options that there are. You can do it if it's a client, if it's filling out, it's a son or daughter or family member, or staff. So we're going to use staff. And ask which staff member. So I'm going to use myself. Now it's a reassessment or a brand new quote. Let's do a brand new quote. This is for some, are they calling about themselves or somebody else? So let's just say somebody else. So who's the caller's name? What's the caller's phone number? So remember, you're doing all this as an intake.
This all prompts you, and this prompts your staff to ask these questions and make sure they get everything.
And the more versed you are doing it off of this screen, the easier it becomes. And then you start just leading people. You get a lot of calls. Sometimes people say, my mom she's coming out of the hospital and we don't really know what she needs. What do you guys do? We can take them through this whole process, and it's very easy, and it's a very smooth, and it's professional. It's very, very professional. The relationship between the caller and the care recipient, and then the care recipient's name. So my family needs a lot of care these days. All right, so their birthday. And you have to remember, I'm a regulated state, so this is all state required information anyway. So we designed the intake to be state compliant as well as informational. We made the care recipient phone and email, cell phone optional, because a lot of times they're not calling for themselves. So we made it optional. If you have it, you obviously can enter it. And then we ask, how did you hear about us? And select one of those. And then how do you plan to pay for your care? These are the pay options that we have at my company. So I'm just going to, yours might be different. We can change those on the registration. Then where's the care going to take place? And we're going to do home. If you notice down here at the bottom too, we have uncertain. So that's somebody that's not sure where the care is going to, and they can put that in. If we say other, then they need to explain to us what the situation, a little more detail on that. We uncertain and other are all through all the questions as well. So you can take notes and add notes. You can do a lot of different things with that, those particular areas. Here's the service address. And then if the house or it's a community, you can give them the name of the community. If there is one. Is it a gated community or no? If it is, it'll bring up, what else information to get in. If it's no, then you just go on. All the services that they're thinking about. Companion and sitter. If you notice, the hovers has the IADLs, which is companionship. And you have the personal care, which is the ADLs. And then in Georgia, we can't say respite, so we call it short-term care, and we define that as less than 14 days of care. That's maybe just for somebody going on vacation or a wedding or whatever. And then how many days of service would this person want? We're just going to put in there flexible. Then how many days? We have a 6-hour consecutive hour minimum, and we have a 30-hour a week minimum. So we're just going to say 6 to 12 hours. And then if they know how quick they're going to be starting services, we'll just put a date in. If they don't, you can go past it. And then here's all the activities that they'd like us to help them with. ADLs, again, with the hovers, IADLs with the hovers, then some companionship. Maybe they're a fall risk, medication reminders, toileting, transportation. Maybe they have cognitive. Maybe they're a smoker. Maybe they have some pet care. And again, uncertain another if they don't sure. At this point, you can now save this as a draft. If for some reason somebody got in and doesn't know what they want to do, they can save this. It will send a message to the agency, and you can, as an agency, contact that particular person and complete the quote for them and with them. And this happens all throughout the quote as well. Now we're going into the needs, if you can see over here on the right. So it's transportation. What kind of transportation needs do they have? They have a car. We also say if we have to provide the transportation, some mileage charges will apply. Okay, you said you had pet care. What's the pet care service? It's a single pet and it's minimal care. They added contagion. So other than COVID, which is still at the top of most people's list, there are a lot of other things that are contagious. If you select a contagion, it will change your rate only while those people are contagious. So the rate can go up, but it also can go down. It just depends on the situation, and you have to monitor that. We're just going to say none on this one. Down at the bottom, we're over 50% done. Here's the eating. How can this person feed themselves? Are they able to? Do they require a lot of assistance? And we're just going to say that they need extensive assistance. Their ambulation, how independent are they? How dependent are they? So we'll just pick one that says they require an escort to most daily meals and activities or outings. These are their assisted devices that are in their home that they use on a regular basis. A cane, say a rollator, wheelchair, maybe they have oxygen. Uncertain or other are still available. There's transfers. How do they get up and down out of chairs? Do they need help? So we'll say yes, they need at least one person. Are they independent in their toileting? Or are they incontinent? So we're going to say that they're incontinent, may need some help in queuing for that. And then what are they incontinent in? Bowel, bladder, or both? I'm just going to say bladder. How do they bathe? Can they do it themselves, or do they need assistance? And we're going to say they require assistance. Nutrition. We're going to say that they are well managed as long as somebody's there helping make sure that they get the right meals and they eat on time. Have they had any major injuries? And we're in safety now. If they had any injuries in the last year. So let's say they've had some bruises and cuts requiring some medical intervention. How many falls? We're going to say they've had more than 6 in the last year. How many ER visits from those falls or other instances? We'll say they had 1. Were they admitted to the hospital for anything in the last year? We'll say that they had 2 admittance. What are all their medical diagnoses that we know of right now? So maybe they have CHF, COPD, some dementia, diabetes, and high blood pressure. How many medications are they? They require multiple. I had a lot of diagnoses. This is if they're coming out of a rehab. Maybe they've been home, they've been bedridden, says source. It's not a lot of technicality in the descriptions, but it alerts us that if somebody has it, they probably need to be coming home with skilled nursing, or if they're at home, they probably need to get a doctor's orders for that to get home health, because as we all know, home care does not do wound care. That's a discussion that you can have as the professional home care. Here's all the treatments that they're having at home. So they're diabetic and they have some insulin, some IV, wound care. So right now, if they were telling us that, in my mind and our agency's mind, or your staff, we should know that they've got to have some kind of skilled nursing for infusions, and they've got to have some kind of IV for the skilled nursing, and maybe they have home health coming in. And if they don't, we need to be talking to them about that. And here's asking them what home services are coming in: physical therapy, skilled nursing, maybe palliative. Are they currently in a rehab or hospital? And it's yes. We'll say yes. When is the expected discharge date? Let's say 09/01/2022. We're down here, we're in 85%, we're almost done. If you have the name of the hospital or rehab. Are you ready to schedule an appointment? If you say no, you go on, and it's going to ask you, what else do you need to know before you can schedule it? If you say yes, what's the best time to contact you? And let's just say, we'll say 08-31/02, and if you can call me at 10 a.m. in the morning. This is another Georgia requirement. We have to know the physician and their phone number and address. We made it optional because a lot of people don't know it right off the bat. This is personal interests, physician, their address. That's all optional. We do go back and fill it, complete that here. And then here's just a little, something about that client that kind of tells us, a little bit about them. So maybe they were a teacher, and maybe they have grandkids, 8. Let's say they have 8 grandkids. Any additional notes? Please call. Now we have the option to add a second person. So if this is a couple living together, the other person may or may not need help. So what we've done is they live alone. There's another person there, but they don't need any help. Another person, and they might need a little bit of help. And we note on there that minimal help does not include ADLs. That's just, making an extra sandwich, maybe, driving with them to the doctor. They both have doctor appointments, stuff like that. And then if it's full care, then we would do that. The original information about the house, the service, the contact people would all be pre-populated. And then a second person queue would come up, and you would fill out all their safety and needs and personal interests. And then you'd have the second. So then you could determine as an agency, do you need 2 care pros in there? Do you need 2 care plans? Can one person handle it? So you just get a lot of information on that. So let's say they live alone. So here's a little quick summary of everything that we've input.
We do have some questions when you're ready.
Okay. All right. Yeah, go ahead before we finish. Go ahead. Give me, shoot them to me.
All right, here, do prospects complete this totally on your website without ever talking to a live person?
They do. So we've had people that
Yeah.
go in and do inquiries. What happens is when an inquiry is done, they get an email that says, thank you for your quote, gives them the price, gives them the care spectrum, and tells them that an agency representative will be contacting them to discuss the quote and the care needs. So we do have a lot of people, more and more, as more people are Googling at night, we get them. We actually get them from other states. We had one from North Carolina about a week ago, and earlier this week we had one from Tennessee. So people are finding it and going on. We call them and then we try to find a professional referral in their area. But yes, they do.
All right, so, and yeah, I think, we've seen some of that happen from other things that we've done. Yeah, people
Right.
do actually fill it. And if they hit save draft, the same thing's going to happen. They're still,
Right.
even if they didn't make it all the way through, they're still going
Right.
to get, and
Get an
then,
email and the agency will get a copy of that draft. We can go back in and we can, when we talk to them, and we can complete it with them at that time.
so the next question is, so this gets built into an existing website.
Yes, it can be. It can be embedded in the website if you choose. If you're a franchise, sometimes the franchise they're very protective of their brand. So if you can, we do have approval through Visiting Angels to allow it to be embedded in their franchise locations that use this. If you're an independent, obviously you have control over your own website. Like we said, it's a URL. You can embed that. And Val, you can speak to how you did it in ours.
Well, if you go to homecarematters.com, which is where we came from when we started this quote, it's just a link on their website at the top. It's in the main navigation, and anybody can click on it and do that. You're probably going to get a bunch of tests now. But if you go to homecarematters.com, anybody can go to it, anybody can fill it. And it's great because they already get a sense of, you're going to see this in a minute, a sense of what that's going to cost. And then the next question is, what is the cost of using this? But you might want to finish this before you go into.
Yeah, if you don't mind waiting, there's several different pricing plans, and I'll give you the website and everything. You can look through it. You can do a demo there as well. So let's submit your quote. Is there anything else, Val? Was that it?
Yeah. Do you have any experience or data regarding consumers who actually complete the 60 questions versus the agency staff? That it's probably more often the agency staff, I would guess.
The larger percentage, I would say it's
So-
probably right, like 80-20 right now, a typical 80-20 rule, 80% in the agency, 20%. And some of our sales people, our nurses do it when they do the reassessments, they use the reassessment tool. But by and large, right now, it's primarily agencies.
And then the last question kind of goes along with pricing. You might want to discuss this at the end. Are you selling this by any territory protection or selling to all and any type agencies? So you might, I can come back to those when you get done with this quote here.
Well, I mean, we can answer it. I mean, right now it's an open market. We don't have any proprietary relationships with any one franchise or independent or anybody like that. So it's kind of a first to market kind of opportunity, really. All right, let's submit the quote. So the confirmation on this quote is it's $31. Now remember, my base rate is $27. So there were $4 of what I'm going to call accessorial care charges. So over and above what my base rate includes for personal care and companion care, that type of thing, the care rate came out to $31. This is the quote ID. That's
15%.
about 15%. That's a 15% increase over my base rate. So right now I have $31 that I signed this client up, that I know I have between 15 and 16 to pay my care professional. All right, so as soon as that was done, I'm going to have to stop sharing and go over to the email so I can show you a couple different things. If you don't mind, just be patient here real quick.
Well, that's great. So if you think about your own organization while she's pulling this up, how many of you would just have quoted the $27 right off the nail and
Right.
not added in that $4 for the complexity of this case?
Correct. All right, so can you see that, Val?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is a general email that comes right to the agency. What you get down at the bottom is a PDF. We're going to open that up and let me make that larger. Okay. Can you see that? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So this is the PDF. So it says Home Care Matters. It's got all my stuff on it. It's got the quote ID, when it was created. So it's date and time stamped. Here's my care rate.
This is
And this, pardon me?
just verify that that's what's on. the-
Yeah, you can see that, right, Val?
Yes.
You can see the quote. Okay, all right.
So
So here's the pie chart. So we have almost 43% of that person's care is in notable care. They're in caution care, and then they don't have really very little independent and basic care. You go back through and you've got this whole PDF full of all the information that person gave us that called in. At the end, here's the pie chart definition. So this is how you can explain to a family where their person is on that care spectrum. So if we look back up here, hang on a second. Let me get back up here. Can I get back up? Why is it-
You're-
there you go. Oh,
there
you were there.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. So here, I mean, almost 90%, like 80, what is that? 85% of their care is caution and notable. So when we go down here and we look at caution and notable, we're saying that that there are many conditions that require additional help. And we're talking about the 6 to 12 hours, maybe 12 to 24 hours, because based on whatever it is that's going on there, so if somebody that has dementia, that's not 6 hours or 10 hours that we're there, that's full 24 hours. Who's going to be there outside of us? So it's a combination, and we want people to know that we'll be there and we're going to do our part. But this is, you got some serious care issues going on. And when you go back through it, you say, well, what makes you say that? Well, they had more than 6 falls. They were in the hospital a couple of times. They had injuries and other things that went on. You can explain it. And once they see it and they have it, it's much easier for them to comprehend and consume that. And you're educating them, because before they didn't know what they needed and they didn't even know how much it cost. Now they have a lot more information. They're more well armed. And yes, they may shop you, but when somebody calls and says, well, I just got a price down the street that's $3 less, what do you do that they don't do? And I say, well, did they give you a quote like this? Is it spelled out? And what's the most important thing to you? Is it the price or the value, or that you know that your loved one's going to get the care because we've just put you through a pretty much a base assessment right here. We know what our care professional needs to be skilled and equipped with. We know how much it's going to cost, and we're going to be there a minimum of every 90 days to take care of it. It's pretty powerful, really. All right, let's stop this share, and I'm going to show you what the client gets. Okay, what the person completing the screen gets, or the quote. So this is what, I can't make that bigger. Can you see that, Val?
Yep, it looks fine. You can.
Yeah, I just stopped it. Hang on just 1 second. I got to go back to it. Okay, here it is. So this is what the client gets. As soon as we hit that, submit the quote, the agency got the quote, and this message went to the person that helped us do it. Tells them that thank you for doing that. Here's the pie chart. Here's their level of care based on the pie chart, the estimated hourly rate, the quote ID. And it says that somebody from the agency will be calling them, and nothing is confirmed. We always say nothing is confirmed until we come out to see you and we do the assessment. But this gives them a pretty good bulk of information. Doesn't give them the PDF. That PDF is yours to share with them as you choose. Maybe you having a living room visit. Maybe you need to discuss more because they're not quite sure what all, all the differences in the pie chart are. So it can make, the PDF is basically up to you. You can make it in person, or you can share it with them via email. All right, so let's go back to,
It's a great selling tool.
yes.
Nobody else is going to hand somebody something like this. We do have a couple questions when you're ready.
Okay, hang on, let me get back over here. What I'm gonna do is pull up the home care quote. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead. What are some other questions?
Let's see. Who determines the rate? Does the agency have a say in what goes in the algorithm? Absolutely.
Yeah, so when you subscribe to a plan, let me put up the pricing plans here for you, so you can be looking at those. So here's the pricing plans. All right, so when you subscribe to a pricing plan, what you do is you subscribe to the one you want, you join, and then you'll be taken to a screen that says create your member profile.
Valerie, we can't see the screen. We can only
Oh.
see the PowerPoint. Sorry.
No, I'm glad. Here, hang on a second. Let me do the screen share.
All this technology stuff.
Yeah. It's switching the screens. That's a pain.
Now we're still seeing the PowerPoint, just so you know.
Okay, let me see. Why can't I get that up?
There you go.
Okay, there you go.
Look at that beautiful
All right.
website.
Yeah. And another beautiful website by, I don't know who did that. Melby, who did that? So when you go through the member registration, it will ask you, your company name, you'll upload your logo, your address, your website information, all your staff members, your locations, what your pricing is. So if you have a base rate, you put that base rate in. If you have a higher base rate for, say it's a weekday and you have a higher base rate for nights, then you put a factor in. So that maybe it's 10% higher. It might be, what is that, 1.1? So 1.1 your factor is. If you have a holiday rate, take your base rate and the factor is 1.5 time and a half. So you choose what you want those rates to be, and what you want your base rate to be. And then everything else is based on what you tell it to do. Those are all you can change that at any point in time. It's a live change. If you decide that you're going to you subscribe today and next week you're going to have a price increase to your base rate, you go into your login and your member registration and you change your base rate, and then everything else changes accordingly. If you change a staff member, if you add people or take people away, you can go in the day that happens and you can eliminate that email and add a new email. You can decide who gets the copies of the quotes in your agency. So who's going to be following up with them, and you can use it as a sales follow-up tool. You can use it, when somebody does it, if we get them done at night, like came in this morning, we had 2 actually. First thing we do is call the client and go through. So we got your inquiry. What can we do? We go through it. We share the information with them. And then, we go from there, but it's meant to be a consultative tool. And that's why we don't give them everything up front, because we want you to call them and we want you to show how different your agency is and how professional it is, and the types of things that we're doing to try and keep home care, if you will. I know I've said this before, some people have heard it, is over the last 2 years, home care really got a seat at the grown-ups table, if you will, right? We were always kind of thought of as, doctors didn't even know the difference between home care and home health, and probably some still don't. But we're there, and now we have to bring a different level of professionalism and a different kind of effort to that game. And so as much referrals as we get, we can give back now as well. And we can start to establish our industry in a whole different light, at a whole different level of professionalism that's not been there before, with the kind of people that we have in our industry that are full of compassion and full of want to do a good job, this is a great tool to do that.
You know what? Here, when I look at this, I'm like, you know what? I know me. And if I owned a home care agency, I'd be in for the $99 for 3 months and get my unlimited monthly quotes and my training and technical support taken care of.
Yeah.
That would be me.
Well, you know what? That's what we recommend. We recommend you start at the $99 so that you can get your processes in place. You can train your staff. You can get used to using it on the toolbar. And then when you get more comfortable with it, you can add it to your website. So the 3 months are up and you finish the $99. You've made it a part of your business decisions to operate in a very consistent. Anybody who calls your office, your staff puts them through the quote. So now you have a consistency. You have a very consistent professional message. You have a process that is there's probably nobody else doing it like that. So you take that and then you say, okay, well, I can do it. Now that I'm ready, I'm good at this. You take and you decide, do you want all the analytics that goes with it? So with the analytics, you can slice and dice. You get a CRM, you can slice and dice how you want your data. What's your most profitable zip code? What's the average age of your clients? What's who do we take care of most, men or female? What's our top 5 diagnoses in our market? So now if you know what those top 5 are, instead of doing a shotgun approach to training, what about if you took it and you say our top 5 are, dementia and stroke and this, and you start taking your care staff and you start focusing your training on getting them skilled in the types of cases that you're getting, those higher acuity cases. The higher the acuity, the higher the price of the service and the higher pay that you're going to be able to pay. So the $99 is there to help you get through and make sure that you have your business processes in place and that your staff is on board and you do the training, and then you migrate up. If you feel like you're already there, you have some pretty good systems in place, you can start at the $399. There's no, you don't have to, progress from one to the next. You can start wherever you want.
We have a couple more questions, and I would say this. This is what stuck with me is that in your agency and anybody who's been around a while, or you have different people that answer the phone, and it's okay because you want to answer the phone, so you have different people answering the phone, different people taking phone calls. Now everybody's on the same page. You're not giving out 3 different prices for 3 different, you might have quoted one thing and it's a friend of a friend of a friend, and then this person's going to quote a different hourly rate. Everybody is on the same page. The hourly rate is based on the assessment over the phone, and it's the same one that if, it doesn't matter who takes the call, it's always going to be the right rate for that person. I think that's huge. And so we have a few questions.
Okay.
Can all the various fields be customized? Can there be calls to action like discounts or freebies?
Like,
I'm not sure.
what is, don't, yeah.
Sign up today and get 10% off your first 8 hours or something. I guess you could put that in an email if you wanted that.
Oh, you mean for a client that goes on that subscribes to this service or to home care?
For if your person took, is on the phone with a customer, a potential.
Okay. And they want a discount.
And then the email gets shot out. Or if they're online doing this themselves and the email gets shot out. I don't think the stuff is going to change on the screen, but in the email, it might say something like, sign up now for 10% off for your first 8 hours or something like that. Can that be added in? There are some fields that have some accessorial or some differentiators in there. I don't really like discounting prices simply because I think that once you start negotiating that leaves everything on the table. And if people think they can negotiate price, they can negotiate care and hours and who they want, that kind of thing. So we don't negotiate, and I don't discount the price. If you wanted to take the most price, you could customize your letter to your note to them and say, here's the price that it came out to, and we'll give you, 3-4 hours, your first 4 hours are free, or whatever you wanted to say,
There are certain things that are customizable. The hard coding, it is the hard coding, and it's the benefit that, the larger portion of the audience instead of a lot of one-offs.
Right, got it. And that's perfectly okay. I
Yeah.
think that's good. All right, are we able to list a price range instead of a single rate of 31 per hour? Could it be, for example, 29 to 31 per hour?
No,
No.
not with the tool the way it is right now.
Um,
You can have that narrative when you talk to the client and
Yeah.
during your follow-up and selling process, but no, the system's integrity produces the rate based upon the inputs.
got it. Can there be multiple users? If an agency has 3 intake coordinators, can they all access?
Yes,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And unlimited.
Got lots of questions here. Is the $99 quote, I guess they're talking about what's on the screen here, only valid for 3 months? The pricing goes up to, it goes up to $299 after 3 months if you decide to stay, right?
That's it.
$299 or $399, you choose.
If you don't want to continue, you don't have to, but if you decide to stay, you're going to want to use this to your advantage, and it goes up, but it's this is to get you started and to make sure you like it.
And the way to think about the finances on this, Val, is that we're seeing, as I said earlier, we're seeing a 10 to 15% increase over base rate. So if you're an agency at $1 million, you're looking at $100,000 to $150,000 improvement in your pricing to market, and the cost on an annualized basis would be less than 5% of that, or so you're really retaining 95% of the improvement and only really using 5% or less to fund it based on whichever subscription you select.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a nice, very few things out there that you plug in, you immediately get an ROI like this.
Okay, are you willing to say if you have sold this to any of the leading, are you willing to tell us if you have sold this to any of the leading franchises? If selling this to anyone until other competitors sign up for this, we could say that this is our differentiator until it's not. I have some opinions about that, but yeah, you've had a few visiting angels that use it, right?
We have several visiting angel locations. We have, I think Visiting Angels right now is the #1 subscriber. They're not through corporate, they're individual franchises.
But we have,
And then we have several independents.
but we have a lot, and we do a lot of demos. We did a demo for another franchise last week that came across the Tim Rowan report on the technology
Good.
accolades that were received by the industry. So yeah, they're coming at us, and obviously when we do that, it's an open market right now. Typically a franchise, as Val said earlier, we have to go through the protocol to be able to, they're controlling the brand on their websites, but they gave us the green light on that, and we anticipate getting that. That largely was driven by conversations that we had with corporate, but really the user group that was advocating they be able to put it on their website.
Yeah. I would say that, too, in 15 years of online marketing and doing things that we've done, is that we've rarely, and probably, I guess never, done it territorially. We've never, we do limit maybe a few things, but, getting in now is really what's going to help grow your business and help increase that revenue. Don't worry about whatever everybody else is doing.
Well,
a while. We got a long way to go before everybody's using this.
And we're continuing to make edits to. We just did another version release yesterday that we take feedback from our user group, plus we have vision of what the tool needs to be able to accomplish. And just to give you an example, we have several users that have multi-franchises and multi-locations.
Yeah.
And now we've enabled on the $3.99 version for you to be able to look over top of all your locations
Individually or collectively.
Yeah. And that means that a corporate, a franchisor could be looking at this at a corporate level if that was the way they decided to go as well.
Yeah. Or if we've got several, there's several clients that we have that just have multiple offices across the state. And the
Exactly.
pricing is going to be different for a super rural area than it is going to be for Dallas proper or a big
Yeah,
city.
the algorithms adjust for markets to that point, about,
Well, and that's exactly what I have. I have a Atlanta Metro office, which is my Flowery Branch suburb of Atlanta. I also have another location that's down south, that's in a more rural, Macon, Forsyth, Georgia area. And our base rate is about a $3 difference. So I subscribe to two separate ones, so my team down there can use it for the clients that are there, and we use it up here for us. But it's definitely, it's two different base prices based on
Two different
location,
marketplaces.
two different marketplaces.
Next question is, are you sending the recording? Yes, absolutely, Rebecca. We are recording this and I'm going to send it out to everybody. Next question is, since the quote is dependent on the initial information provided, how do you recommend adjusting a quote if after the assessment, it is determined that the client requires a higher level of care? Perhaps they forgot to include some information when filling out the form.
So that was when you would take that initial quote and then you would do a reassessment quote. You would plug in the original quote, quote ID number that we had, and it would populate like the general intake, and then everything that's different, you plug it in. And then when you finish and you review it, the quote will tell you, here's where you were, here's where you are, and tracks the differences for you. So you can go back to the client, you can say, based on, the actual on-site assessment, here's what we found and here's your new price. It could be up, it could be down, but that's what it does. And then you use that initial quote is your parent quote for the life of that client. So through the life, they may be, companion care now, and you keep them for 2 or 3 years, but they have some diagnoses that, send them, on a downward spiral. So as often as you do a new quote, you put the new one in, or you put the old quote in and you put the new parameters in. And for the life of your client, you can track it. You'll know exactly what it is. So you have the base quote, and that's the parent, and then all the siblings that come afterwards, if you will.
Yeah, and that's nice because, let's face it, most of your clients are not going to get better over the years. They're going to require
Typically
more
they
care
don't.
over the years. So your pricing will adjust and it won't stay $27 an hour for the next 3 years. It's
No.
actually going to adjust because you're doing reassessments and all that. And I liked what you said about the life event. So a fall, a hospitalization, a new diagnosis, a medication change, something like that.
Correct.
New assessment, new set of numbers.
Correct.
Okay, next question is, are your intake people not giving any price over the phone and requiring any prospect to either complete the intake process, or has intake person complete it before rendering any price offer? This seems like it might stall things if you have a customer with an immediate need. Like, because it's a long conversation, or?
Well, typically the conversations are pretty lengthy. So when somebody calls in to my office and says, I have my mom, she's in the hospital, she's going to be coming home. I'd like to talk to you about what services you offer. And we, one of the next things we say is, all right, tell us a little bit about your mom. What we have is we have a system we put everybody through. We kind of get a pretty good idea of where she is on the care spectrum, what your pricing will be. And you, that can change up or down. Do you have about 10 or 15 minutes, to go through it? And as they're talking, because once you get them talking and you're leading them through this conversation, so say they didn't even know you were putting them through a quote, you could just say, okay, what's your name and your email? What's your mom's name, or, whatever, and her birthday, and you just kind of start going through it. And the more detail you get on the front end, the better. If they didn't have time, which we had, oh, I'm in the carpool line and I really don't have time right now. Can I call you back? We say, you can call us back. We're happy to go through it. You can go to our website and you could do it yourself, and we'll call you after you complete it. We have several people that do that. And if push comes to shove and somebody says, well, all I really want to know is what your price is, you probably pretty much know that's pretty much all they care about. And you say, well, we don't have any services that start less than whatever your base rate is, goes up from there. And that's probably about the easiest way that you could do that. We prefer not to, because we think that the tool and the whole process should be consultative. We should be educating people. We should be helping them understand what's involved and all the things that we can do to help them.
Yeah, I can honestly, I can say from the like lead generation perspective, when somebody calls in, we have seen, I have been able to see over the years, how long do those calls take? And I can guarantee you there is no less than 20 minutes on the phone. 20 minutes to an hour is
Right.
usually the length of time that a real lead is going to take on the phone with one person in your office. So
Right.
this, just going through this assessment is no longer than that.
No, and it's
Okay.
a good way to start. Once you go through, you have a base assessment. Our nurse takes the base assessment from this quote and then goes out and confirms or adds to and make sure that we know that if they're diabetic, how are they being treated diabetic, with their IVs or medicine or diet. So there's a lot of things that now we can provide additional education, and we can help them with additional resources if they don't know where to go or what they should have at home.
Sure. So I have one last question. If anybody else has a question, now would be the time to enter it in because I have 2 questions. I'm a Visiting Angels franchisee and I'm interested. Do I reach out to corporate first for approval or to you directly?
The only thing you need from corporate is to be able to put it on the website. If you want to use it yourself, you can call us. We have some Visiting Angels that we'd be happy for you to talk to. But you can call us direct and we can talk about what your thinking is and maybe help you, on a more personal level, about, what would be best for your location.
Yeah.
Did you want to-
Absolutely. Yeah. You can, if you go to homecarequote.com, by the way,
Mhm.
just homecarequote.com, there, at the very, you can go to get a live demo. You can go to the bottom of the screen. There's a phone number at the bottom of the website. We're going to place it at the top of the website later today. But you can see their phone number and their email at the bottom there. And you can call and talk to them directly, or you can sign up for a demo, which is just filling out a form basically, and then go from there. I got one more question.
Okay.
And I think this speaks to, click on get a live demo, which is what you just did. There's a form there you can fill out. It doesn't have Valerie's information in it when you do it, but
Yeah.
so you can fill out that form and it'll go straight to Valerie and Carl. Okay, so I think one of the things that the software also requires that everybody has a bit of a change in mindset here. And so the question is, I like it, but it seems heavily dependent on the intake algorithm. What if an on-call staff is on the road, a call comes in, can't quote until the 60 questions are done? Do you ever lose a prospect because they want price now and not willing to spend the time? And I think you've kind of already answered this, but that's the last question I have.
Yeah, that we have not had that as a problem. We give them the option that so a marketing person might be on the road or walking into appointment, and can call them back, can redirect them to the office, or can have the office reach out to them, or they can give them the website directly. We haven't had, it is heavily involved because you want the detail. You want we want to know how much care is needed and is involved so we can price it. And we have not had anybody who has, because they couldn't get the price right then, not allow us to contact them or, through another time or another person at the time. Our marketing agent or rep gets calls from all different people, and she's busy. It says on her voicemail, I'm not available right now. Please contact the office if your need is urgent. So, and we just haven't had that as an issue, and I'm sure you could come up with some kind of solution. I don't think it's a deal breaker as far as using the tool and having people. At the end of the day, if somebody says, "Well, I just need a price," you say, "Well, we start at whatever your base rate is, and we go up from there, and we can give you exactly what that cost is when we have a few minutes to go through the tool."
Absolutely. Just give them you have a standard answer for that, but you need more information to be able to give them an accurate.
Exactly.
I think that seems fair, like a fair answer. If you're in a hurry, I can give you what I can give you, but let's get together and talk about
Exactly.
reality.
again, it goes back to the consultative side of it. And I get people are busy and they just want to know, they want to know what they know. So, if push comes to shove, that's the answer. And then, hopefully follow back up with them and then, get more detailed information from them.
Well, Valerie and Carl, you guys did a fabulous job for this webinar, and I think you answered every question so nicely. Any parting words that you would like to give everybody, and we'll call it a day. You did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I really hope that it was informative and that people got a good feel of it. I think it's a really differentiator in the market, and you just need to decide how you want to run your business and how, define it, maybe take it to the next level, or you've got a good level and just increase that value that you bring to your communities and your clients.
Yeah,
I
I'd
hope
say,
that we hear from you.
yeah, read through the Home Care Quote website. Go there, look at all the pages, read the information there, and get some better ideas of how things are working. Read the testimonials, and I think you'll sign up for that free demo or the $99 and find out what impact it could make on your business.
Right.
And on the pay that you're able to offer those care professionals. I think that is something that we need to focus on a lot. Everybody wishes they could pay more, and here's the way you could do that, quote accurately.
Correct. Well, good. Well, thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. And if anybody has any questions after this, you have our email and phone numbers. Excuse me. We're more than happy to schedule a time to do a demo or answer any questions.
All right, great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
Have a
Bob.
great day.